What's up, everyone, and welcome to Parks Podcast presented by DGA. I'm Mitch Phillips, and joining me is my good buddy, Zach Harrison. And on today's episode, we're going to be breaking down and recapping the Turku Open, but later we're going to have Cole Redalen join us. We're going to deep dive how he got into disc golf, how the tour's going, and all that's to come for one of the hottest players in the sport right now. Zach, how you doing, brother?
So good, man. I'm officially on vacation.
Ooh, vacation, baby.
So I don't have to go back to work till July.
Dang.
Which feels amazing.
And for context, that's 12 days, 13 days.
Yeah, 13 days. Couple weekends tossed in there. They really worked my way into that. But yeah, flying out to California tomorrow, flying into San Francisco, staying in San Jose for a night, going to the Yosemite National Park, staying in Yosemite Village, going up to a campground and backpacking up there. So most everything's prepped. We did a whole bunch of work to dehydrate a lot of our food. We've got like 10 meals, which is 3 more than we need, or dinners, 10 dinners, which is 3 more than we need. So we're just going to pig out as much as we can and hike and lay in the water and see some waterfalls and hopefully not cross any bears. And if they do,
I'm just hoping you come back. Hoping you're like, you actually want to come back to Metro Atlanta. Like, are you going to want to come back after all this?
Never. I never want to come back, man. But, you know, I do like my bed, so that'll call me back.
True.
I like my friends and I like my family. And I won't have
anything
my
else you like. Are you allowed to? Do you need to say anyone else you like while we're at this point?
No, everybody else can go.
I feel like everybody else get them out of here.
Friends, family. And if you're not that, I don't really care about you that much.
And the Atlanta Braves need them.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I do care about those guys.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
But yeah, man. So that's what's happening. It just doesn't feel real until I'm like, in California. And then even then, like until we're in Yosemite, it's just not going to feel real.
Right. Yeah, it's. I mean, you and I were texting this week about it, and just like I remember you saying, you're like, it doesn't feel real until I'm there. 1, but 2, it's like what a privilege and what like an absolute like honor that I get to go do this, and like in the middle of the year and have a job that lets me, take this time to do this. Like, dude, what a blessing! It's gonna be so awesome. It's gonna be refreshing. I can't wait to see it all. It's gonna be freaking cool. So
thanks, brother.
Awesome about that. But I am up to not nearly as much as that. I've been working. We're getting closer to opening the brewery in August. So been a lot of that kind of stuff, and then I've been working out a lot. Hayden and I've been putting in some work and holding each other accountable on some different stuff and trying to eat better and work out better and prep to hopefully play Q Series in the fall, if not both of them on the East Coast, and just really grind them. So it's been a lot of fun. Starting to see a good amount of progress. I bought a net in the fall and never actually took it out of the box. And I'm definitely going to be setting that up this week and just starting to put in some more work. So being more intentional with my disc golf game. But man, all the good eating, all the things aside, I still work at a brewery. We're passionate about beer. What are you sipping on tonight, Zach? And I'm going to go first because I think yours is going to be cooler than mine. And I am sipping on one of the most old, amazing beers, the Narragansett Set.
Oh, dude.
And I just love this so much. The Hi Neighbor, Have a Gansett. It's just one of the most just quintessential amazing beers from the New England area, and some information here on it. It's made on honor is their whole thing for 5 generations, and since 1890 pre-prohibition era drinkers toasted a Gansett. Dr. Seuss illustrated a character named Gansett. The Red Sox, it was the first ever sponsorship of an alcoholic beverage to partner with a professional sports team with the Red Sox from 1944 to 1975. So drinking this lager is just a nod to the New England history. So with that, Hi Neighbor, Have a Gansett.
Heck yeah, dude. That is awesome.
Yeah. So it's so crispy, so light, literally like gold medal winning, like so many things. And it's just the most simple, bright lager.
I love it, dude. I love it. Well, mine is a little bit older.
I know.
As well as being a little bit larger.
Hey, that's not camera. That's not adding pounds. I mean, that thing is huge.
It's absolutely massive. I mean, next to my face, it's literally the size of my face. I got a big old head. I got a big head. This is a Polliner, which a lot of people have had the Oktoberfest from Polliner. This is their Pilsner. So it's very, very light. It's actually a lot lighter than I want my Pilsners to be. Not saying that I don't enjoy this, but if I were to make one, I would want it to be a little more full bodied. But
let's not talk bad about the classics, all right?
no, never,
Show some
never.
respect.
I mean, everything they do, it's German purity law,
Mhm.
so there's nothing
Oh, yeah.
except water, malt, yeast, and hops. They've been doing it since 1634, so it's like, I mean,
Dang,
come
got
on.
me by 200 years.
Yeah,
Jeez.
exactly, dude.
All
So,
right.
pretty amazing, and honestly, this is kinda cool because it's an homage to the trip that we were going to take. We were
Ooh,
going to go to, the Netherlands and Belgium and Germany
heck
during
yeah.
this break in June,
Mhm.
and then some things happened. We just really needed to not do that, and so we decided to do a backpacking trip instead. So,
Love it.
I'm kinda on it to represent it and, drink it down before I
Yeah.
go do the other one.
Dude, well, I mean, you get to do both eventually, so that's amazing. So, if you're passionate about craft beer like we are, definitely hit us up on Instagram at Parked Podcast. Comment below a beer that we should try,
Yeah.
and definitely want to get some more conversation going around that because we love it. We're passionate about it, and disc golf and beer just go well together. What you got?
One more thing. On my today 4 years ago checklist, I made one of my first home brews.
Ooh,
It was the first pale ale that I had ever made, and I did it with my buddy Tyler Weddle, who is now 4 years later head brewer at Pontoon Brewery.
that's dope. That's so cool.
So cool, man.
4
And the
years
fact
to
that
the
it was
day.
like today, and I
Yeah.
sent it to him, and he was like, "Oh shit."
Whoa.
He's like, "I can't believe it." And I was like, "Can you imagine like how far
Yeah,
you've come since that day where we were just
that's
releasing
crazy.
a random beer?"
And now
Yeah,
you're the
man.
head brewer at a huge brewery. That's dope.
Massive, dude,
That's so
massive.
cool.
So, really cool,
Awesome.
just a little tidbit.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's jump into some news here. Biggest news story this week. I mean, Kevin Jones, KJUSA, leaving Prodigy mid-season. Shocking. I mean, we're
Definitely.
here in Georgia. We know a lot of players that are sponsored by Prodigy. I worked there for years. A lot of not great news surrounding this company in the past couple years. Everything with Gannon and just kind of a knowledge that they're just not taking care of some of their players
Mm.
and on financial side of things. But this one was weird. It was out of nowhere. It felt, I don't know. What were your initial thoughts on it? And what are, we're going to speculate a little bit here. Definitely comment below or hit us up
Mhm.
with things that you're thinking about. But what you got, Zach?
Yeah, my first thought was like, "Wow, they're gonna like, are they gonna stop making all of his discs?"
I mean, it's a 60% off sale on all of his discs right now. 60%.
So they're probably just cleaning shop.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know a lot of people who love the
Dude.
feedback.
Mm-hmm.
They'll throw the distortion,
Mm-hmm.
like, but
The
that dude,
reverb is like a
the
better
reverb.
D1. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and, like, I mean, a lot of the pros are throwing reverbs,
Yeah.
you know? So, like, that was a big shock to me. I'm like, "You guys have
Mhm.
invested a lot into him," and
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, what happened? We do know that he is recently engaged,
Right.
and so he could just be focusing on starting a family
Yeah. Realizing
and
that touring and being newly married and stuff is just not ideal. I mean,
yeah,
that's a big reason why it's like if I had the opportunity to go on tour, I'd be like, I don't know. I like home. Like starting a family and trying to do that. But I
yeah,
don't know. That's part of it. I mean, we know he's been DJ USA, everything he's been doing with the tour. There's that side of it. Um, I don't know. Is the Pro Tour offering him more of a gig where he can do more of that side of stuff? But I think if anything, we've all noticed, and he's been on some skins matches lately and stuff. His passion is just not there. It's not the
yeah,
same. It's not the jumping off of stuff and being excited and like
fist
just
pumps and
yeah. It's just the energy is not there. His play isn't there. Do you have any stats on? We were talking about earlier about like what he's been doing this season. It's not been great, and we haven't seen him at the top for a while.
no, he hasn't gotten inside the top 20 except for one tournament, which was Music City Open.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that was his best finish on the year was 20th. And
Yeah.
his average right now is floating around like 40.
Yeah, I mean, so he's dropped. There's definitely something going on. So, I mean, straight up, Prodigy may have just said, "Hey, you're not, performing on how we'd like you to. Your discs aren't selling X, Y, and Z." But it's crazy. I think this is one of the first times we've seen a complete parting in the middle of the season. That's
Yeah.
the weird thing to me. It's like there's been, I think it was Drew Gibson when he broke off a DD. It was like you broke your contract, but it wasn't in the middle of the season. Like, and honestly, I mean, not very much of a comparison, but it feels weird. Like, I mean, Formula One, Lewis Hamilton saying, "Hey, I'm going to Ferrari next year," and you still have a full year left with the company you're with. What are you doing? It has that like, huh? Like, was this
Yeah.
necessary to do right now? Is he going to stay on tour? Is he going to throw an open bag? I don't know.
Dude, that was my next question, because I mean,
Yeah.
you look at his PDGA profile and all the upcoming events until September 5th, like, he signed up for them.
Mhm. Watch him drop Prodigy and then just start shredding. I
Just pick
mean,
whatever discs he wants and just
yeah.
go.
I mean, if there's anyone that's been in the conversation of why don't you have a contract, it's Gavin Rathbun.
Yeah. Oh,
And he's
without a
throwing
doubt.
whatever the heck he wants. And I mean, multiple top finishes and just absolutely in the best form. And he was dropped due to injury, due to question marking of his stuff. And now it's like, hey man, please give this man a contract. And if he can't get a contract midseason, there ain't no way Kevin Jones is getting one.
No, not with the
So
performance he's had.
no, definitely not. So I don't know. Interesting. I think it's cool to see our sport shift in that way, maybe to where you want people to hold out in contracts, but sports are sports. And when we start to have more agents, we start to have all this kind of different things. If things aren't happening on one end or the other, manufacturer or player or whatever, see ya. Like we don't need you. We're wasting money on you. So as the
Yeah.
sport grows, it's part of sports and part of companies investing in their players in their sponsorship. So kind of weird, but maybe we'll see some more because there's definitely some players that come to mind. We're not going to shout anyone out in a bad way, but like that come to mind and you go, you're still on tour, like you're still
Mhm.
a top player. Like how are you doing this? Where's this money coming from? And he wasn't one of those people in my head, but he may have been seen that way as a pro player. But also, we just hope the best for him and hope that maybe pursuing getting married, changing lifestyle, pursuing music some more. Who knows? We have
Yeah.
yet to see, and the best maybe yet to come.
Open doors, man, sometimes
Mhm.
lead to the greatest places.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of the greatest places, let's head to Turku, Finland, man. Gosh, I want to go to Finland so freaking bad and just
Yes.
play and just hang
Yes.
out. And gosh, I mean, we've talked about it on the podcast a couple of times that Hayden and I got to do all that commentary for the entire Prodigy Pro Tour and just see these courses firsthand. The hours and hours, like, was it 48 YouTube videos we recorded of rounds, like 48 9-hole rounds we recorded in like a month. And I was just like, I feel like I'm there already. Watching Turku gave me that back. But this was a spin on the course. This is the stag layout that Seppo Payu actually designed. And man, it was awesome. And the like quintessential style of finished disc golf with the white birch trees and the long fairways. But this also had some huge bombers, used some awesome rock features.
Oh,
This
yeah.
course had it all. There was like sub 300 foot holes. There was so much going on here, and it provided some crazy, crazy drama. But I mean, let's just jump to it. Niklas Antila went freaking beast mode. Obviously expected to win this. He's the best player in Europe. There's no question about it. But no one expected him to get 10 out of 11 holes in the final round. Holes 8 through 18, he only had one par on hole 11. And it wasn't like he was parking everything. Dude was hitting the craziest freaking putts from a knee through trees. Like, it was disgusting. He was saving par. Like, his average putt distance had to be wild. Like, he had a 72 footer. Like, I mean, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous.
He's playing really, really good golf. He did, I will say, he had a few lucky moments where
Oh,
it
for
was
sure.
just like, "Ah, you got pretty greasy right there."
Yeah.
But dude, when he would step up to those circle 2 putts, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt, he has all the confidence that it's
Yep.
hitting the heart of
And
the
he's
chamber.
someone who switches his putt all the time. Like,
Really?
he's a spin putter or he's a push putter. When he's close,
Mm,
he leans on his front foot and will literally just like flamingo it. And then he'll like jump putt from a straddle. Like, it's just like
yeah, yeah.
he adjusts what he needs to do at any situation he's in on the putting. It
It's
was
pretty
crazy.
amazing. Mm,
But he
I love to
started that
see it.
round 5 strokes back,
Yeah.
5 strokes behind. And I, I mean, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And
Yeah.
we can't move past this just in general. European players, Finnish players specific, some of the Estonian guys too. Um, the angle control, the approach
Mm,
game, the standstill. They look at the game, and these courses kind of force you to do this, but they just play different. They're matching angles. They're not trying to skip shots. They're trying to
yeah.
land them safely. Like, there's so much intention behind how they play the game. And I freaking love watching it. And I'm glad we had eyes on it on the level we did this week.
You also see a lot of control from both sides, where
Mhm.
it is the same thing where, I mean, and especially the course that Seppo designed, there were a lot of tight fairways that you had to land within about a 20-foot zone.
Yeah.
But to get there, it was forcing so many different shapes and,
Mhm.
give you some options. But You saw a lot of guys going with really aggressive rollers to
Yep.
get there because the ceiling would be so low or the gap would be so tight that a forehand just doesn't make sense. Like Vino was throwing some sick rollers out there this
Yep.
past weekend. But honestly, I was watching my guy James Proctor because he was the name I dropped last week. I was like, what if
you were
Proctor
like,
just
what if
goes and
Proctor
takes
just
it
wins
down,
it?
dude?
Yeah.
And he was so close. That last round was when it all came down. And really, dude, it came down to those last 6 holes.
Yep.
When Niklas was 7 holes, sorry, when Niklas was 7 for 7 and James got 5 out of 7, but those 2 strokes is what left Niklas with the 2-stroke lead. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was absurd.
What an
Proctor
exciting
turned
finish.
it on. His putting was definitely back. I mean, he hit a 52-footer on hole 3, hit a 49-footer on 17. Like, he definitely was just back to the form that we've talked about already. It's like, where's Proctor been this season? He was in the top conversation multiple times last year. But, maybe going to get this, energy from the European vibes and make it happen. But we got to shout out Mauri Villeman, who just fell apart in that final round and just couldn't get it going. Shoots a 4 down and just didn't make it happen. But Jakub Simrad, one of the cleanest forms. There was a lot of stuff on the form check kind of stuff that people were talking about, where if you watch his slower stuff, he actually follows through and his hand almost goes in his pocket, in his left pocket. Like, he literally touches his like left quad and like places it there straight arm. It's very unique. And it just goes back to what we were saying, the control and like the different style of playing of some of these European players. Really cool. Eric Oakley had some just rough start, but then it had a great third round, just too late to be able to push up the silver board. But on the FPO side, Proctor was caddying, Evelina was caddying for Proctor, which is super cool to see. But James Proctor actually put up a note, wrote a note on his phone, screenshotted it, put it on story, and it was pretty funny. It said, number 1, it said best putters in the world, and it literally said number 1, Silva, number 2, Andrew Marweed, number 3, everyone else. And it was just really funny to see. And if you look at the stats here, Zach, jump us through some of these stats on the putting side of things.
Yeah, pretty amazing to see what Silva was doing. Not elite as far as tee to green goes, like scoring points on most people, but every single putting statistic except gained in C1X, she's leading. Yeah. So strokes gained putting overall, 14.6 strokes gained putting alone. I don't know the last time I saw a strokes gained putting that high.
Yeah. While we're on that high, how about this? Total putt distance, 946 feet for the tournament. Second place total putt. Yeah, second place total putt was 749. Girl was hitting some crazy long putts.
Insane. She was almost 50% from circle 2.
Insane. Absolutely.
9 out of 20 putts from circle 2.
And she wins by 2 over Evelina, which, time will tell if the putter gets better overall, but overall 63% from C1X. That's where Evelina was there. And I mean, strokes gained in putting was low as usual, if not negative amount.
Dude, so it's just crazy. The same statistic, right? Let's take the top 2, Evelina and Henna, right? Their strokes gained tee to green, almost 24.
Wow.
Which is 10 to 12 more than third place strokes gained tee to green. So they have it. They've got all of that. But their strokes gained putting are in the negatives.
Yep.
Almost -2 for Henna, -1 for Evelina. So she's losing on the greens. And you just can't talk. I mean, I can't say anything about it because I'm also pretty crappy on the greens. Right. But like you have to expect that the mental side of this has to just be eating them alive at this point.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I mean, we saw it at the first tournament of the year at chess.com when Evelina was putting really well. Boom, instant win. Like it just comes down to putting. But yeah, I like that we had a decent, push here from Haiti Line as well. And there were some other names that definitely are in the European scene that are notable. But just there was again, like that's been for the most of the year. We'll kind of wrap it up here. It's these top 3, top 4 players, and then a huge 9 to 10 stroke gap in the FPO field. So just if you're in the top, you're in the top. If you're not, you're far back. So interesting to see that even continue on the European side. But they have a week off, I believe, and they're going to head over to Sweden for what is that tournament? The Swedish Open, June 28th to the 30th in Borås, Sweden. So really cool to see that happening and see elite series tournaments happening and full points awarded and all those kind of things that the tour is doing for that. So pretty sweet. But I enjoyed it. Hoping to see some more coverage of that in the next 2 weeks. But when we return, Cole Redalen of Team DGA joins us. Super excited to chat with him. You're listening to Park Podcast. We will be right back. The Des Moines Challenge presented by DGA is right around the corner, July 5th through 7th, just a couple of weeks. And I've heard there's some pretty awesome releases going to be happening in person at the event. Zach, what have you been hearing?
The First Flight Surf and Sonar are being released in the D-Line Swirl.
Ooh, heck yeah. Going to be some new artwork on there. But also heard there's going to be some other exclusive discs, maybe some special molds, special plastics, definitely some dope stamps getting released as well. So you don't want to miss it. Be sure to, if you're in the area, come to Des Moines, head over to the DGA booth, and we're going to be there handing out all the goodies. Can't wait to see you guys in a couple weeks. Welcome back, everybody. Joining us now from the preserve at the campground in his van, Mr. Cole Redalen. How you doing, brother? Welcome to Minnesota. We're wishing we were up there with you. What's going on, dude?
Sweet, yeah. Thanks for having me on the pod, guys. Just flew into Des Moines on early Sunday morning and kind of got settled back into the RV there and had it parked at some friend's house, so I didn't drive it all the way out west.
Nice.
Just had a great West Coast swing and drove up to the preserve yesterday and got in some practice today, so doing well.
So you got a full practice round in today after driving. What's that like? I mean, the tour life of driving a ton. Okay, I got to get practice round in. What's the timing of that look like on a normal week for you?
Yeah, so a lot of it's been a little bit weather dependent as there is a thunderstorm rolling in right now. So my RV is like shaking. So
Yeah.
if there's any sort of shaking, it's very windy outside right now. But yeah, it's not bad. I feel like every touring pro has kind of the same flow. Like Sunday is the end of the tournament. You kind of stay where you are, depending on how you travel. Like if you're in Airbnbs, then you usually stay Sunday night. But if you're in like a van or something after the tournament, you'll start making progress to the next event. But for me, it's kind of Monday is travel day. So I wake up Monday morning, drive all day Monday to the next stop, usually check in, get settled in wherever that is. Most of the events are within a day's drive. The other ones that are not within a day's drive, usually there's a week off in between. I'm doing something else. But for most of the time, Monday is the travel day. You get settled in. Tuesday, you're probably doing grocery shopping. Depends on how much time you have Monday. Usually you'll knock that out on Monday, but Tuesday you do grocery shopping and then maybe get a practice round in, but mostly just settling, getting some things done that you might not have otherwise gotten done last week. And then, yeah, it starts your practice time. So it kind of like the second half of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are all practice days. Usually it depends, sometimes there's DGPT stuff like, connecting with the community opportunities or like doing like fan stuff. Like there was supposed to be a distance competition for preserve this week or today actually, but unfortunately it got canceled due to the weather. But yeah, so I mean, it just kind of like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are all about the same day. It's just kind of like not a lot to do, making sure you're getting your practice in, making sure you're fueling yourself, preparing for those tournament days. And then obviously Friday, Saturday, Sunday are going to be competition days. And then right after that, you start right back again, travel day Monday. And yeah.
Yeah, the cycle continues. That's crazy. How long have you been on the tour now? What's your timeline been so far on tour?
That's crazy. I mean, I'm 19 this year, and this is year 4 for me. So
wild, dude.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. Well, we want to kind of jump back all the way to when you first started with disc golf. We've done this with a couple of our guests here, and just kind of a lot of people don't talk about how you got into it. But take us back. You're one of the younger players on tour. You're not even 20 years old. Like you're like just now became a legal adult in America's eyes. I mean, and you're on the road doing your thing. Take us back to how you started in disc golf.
Yeah, absolutely. That was back in August of 2015. Zoe Andike and Dustin Keegan, before they had even started UPlay, they ran a clinic. My dad works for Intel in Hillsboro, Oregon, and he worked for Intel at that time. He was working for Intel in Hillsboro, Oregon, and they came up and did this like few week series. I think like every Thursday for like 3 weeks. It was like a little league or something, and they did like a clinic beforehand. So my dad went to one of those. He really enjoyed it, and after that, he's like, well, I think I could really entice the family to get into this as well. So he brought us the next week, and I just fell in love with it. I'd thrown a lot of ultimate frisbees before
Mhm.
that, so I'd already loved throwing frisbees. This was just something new. My dad had played a lot of ultimate frisbee as well, so I already loved the frisbee. But to add golf to the mix was even cooler. So yeah, from that point forward, I just excelled really quickly. It took it up as my second hobby. Basketball was probably the first for me at that point. I loved basketball, played it all throughout middle school. And then in high school, I wanted to play, but the private school wouldn't let me play for them. And since I was homeschooled, I couldn't play for the private school unless I went to their school. So
Hmm.
basketball was kind of it for me. I tried out for the local public school. Wasn't a big fan of the environment. A lot of profanity around there that I just wasn't. That wasn't really my style. So I had a hard time clicking with those guys. So I'm just like, well, I guess basketball's done. I've just got all the time for disc golf. So from
Yeah.
that point forward, I ended up turning pro the next year in 2019 after all that happened. And yeah, from that point forward, I've just kind of taken disc golf by the horns, and here we are.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like that's just such a fast ramp from like the introduction to like the golf side of
Mhm.
frisbee to being a competitive player and like winning these events.
Yep.
When did you know it was like I'm in I'm going on tour. Like this is going to happen for me.
I will say probably 2019 when I turned pro.
Okay.
After that season, I had a offer for kind of like that. I'm not going to name. Okay, I guess I should. I got an offer for some like kind of like street team level stuff, and I just like wasn't really feeling that. I'm like, I'm gonna build my game. I want to wait for something like a little
Yeah.
more substantial. Like I want to be a part of the team. I don't really
Yeah.
just want to be an ambassador kind of a thing.
Right.
And so then I worked a little bit harder, and they got back to me, and I ended up signing that first year with Discraft for 2021.
Cool.
And yeah, it was really it was really back in 2019 where I went to the National Amateur Disc Golf Tour Championship in Texas. That is the year Kyle Klein whooped everybody's butts. That was tough. I took 18th and still turned pro at that event.
Yeah.
Well, you
Down
accepted
in
cash at that
Yeah.
point.
You made $480.
Did I really? I thought it was only 300. But I mean, hey, I'll take
480. I mean, inflation. So no,
sure, yeah.
480 is what we're seeing.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But Kyle did take home 5,000. So
Which I'm pretty sure 10,000 was promised. I don't know. Maybe that was later, but
was that
maybe
before they had like to get the car and stuff? Didn't they give away a Jeep or something for
that
a
was
while?
after that was the year after the Jeep.
Ah, damn.
Oh
He
my
really
Yeah.
won the
gosh.
wrong year, huh?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it was took some convincing of the parents. I
Mhm.
think if I've always wanted to go pro in some sort of sport, and I was loving basketball, and I'll be honest, like I really think that any effort I didn't put into disc golf was going to go into basketball.
Mhm.
And so I might have tried to do something with basketball, but once I found disc golf and once the basketball door kind of shut, I put all my eggs in the basket with disc golf. And my dad's like, "No, you are going to college. That is not negotiable." And then Macbeth signed his
$1 million.
big contract,
Mhm.
and then we were like, okay, well, maybe there is some money in this sport. Maybe there is something here, And it's not, and not to like his demise, because like I get it, there like there was not a lot of guys making solid livings, and it took a commitment to travel full time. I'm not holding it against anybody at that point, and people still think that disc golf isn't really a valid career, and really it's really hard unless you are in the top echelon on tour. um, but I'm really happy that kind of the pieces fell into place back in that time, and right after COVID it just seemed to be the time where I slid right on the road.
I found an article that was like pretty in depth. You had written a few things just about like how it was getting into the game, and you did this comparison between basketball and an outdoor sport, like specifically disc golf, and how basketball is so controlled. It's the same team on the same size court inside a gym where it's the same temperature, and there's not a lot of external variables. And then you take it out to a disc golf course where there's rain, you've got different tee pads, you've got different types of ground, and obviously the course itself is completely different. Do you feel like that was more enjoyable than basketball, or is it just a completely different thing because you're not playing a team, you're just playing like yourself essentially?
Yeah, going from a team sport to individual too, like that's such a big change.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, basketball and disc golf are two very, very, very different sports.
Hmm.
There's nothing similar about them, other than trying to put something in a goal, which is that like what every sport almost is, you
Yeah,
know?
they both have out of
Almost, yeah.
bounds. We could go.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. They both have out of bounds. There we go. But yeah, I mean, I was always the ball hog, I'll say that. In basketball, I was always the ball hog, and my teammates, as much as they loved me because I would score a lot of points, they were also like, "Dude, we like playing basketball too."
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I mean, it was also hard because I would just I wanted to take control of the game, and then if we lost, I was very hard on myself, but I was also like really hard on them. I'm like, oh my gosh, this dude ruined the game for us. Like,
Mm.
if I would have
Mhm.
just had the ball, we would have won. Just some like young arrogance like in myself that, it was just really hard to blow off some steam when you are playing a team sport. Um, which I don't think was like huge. Maybe if I played in high school or college, it could have been like a kind of a much worse feeling. But back then, it was still pretty lighthearted. But moving into a sport where I was in control of everything that happened was so cool. I'd never really done that before.
Mm.
Um, and so as soon as I started playing disc golf, I was like, my performance is based on how much I practice, not how much I practice with a team
Mm.
or you'll do all of those things. So, and also just I grew up in Oregon, it's such a beautiful state, and I mean, I moved there in 2012. I didn't wasn't born and raised there, but once I moved there and once I found an outdoor activity that I did with my parents and my family and absolutely loved it, well, then that just kind of took over basketball pretty quickly. I still
Mm.
love basketball. If you ask me right now whether I go play basketball all day or go play disc golf all day, I will 100% say basketball.
Hmm.
Wow.
Probably because disc golf is my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but I do really enjoy basketball. I love breaking a sweat, getting out there and making some jump shots. Like that's still a big part of who I am. But I really enjoy the disc golf side of things just because I'm outside, and if I'm gonna have to travel the country, it allows me to see a lot of very beautiful places, allows me to throw some really cool shots and play the best courses in the world, which a lot of people don't really have that opportunity. So and I get to compete every single weekend, which is even cooler. And again, like I said, all the variables are in my control. So it's how much work do I put into my game, and how much do I really want to win?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you answered a lot of our questions right
That's
there
great.
with some
Thank
stuff
you.
too. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, being able to grow forward. And I was thinking about this when you were saying it's only been 4 years. Like you literally, like for this analogy, you picked up a sport you'd never played before, freshman year of high school, and then you signed with D1, schooled and went to college and like played that. And oh yeah, and we won the championship. And I'm doing this, and I'm the most improved player of the year 2 years later. Like the arc of Cole Redalen in a sport that you literally haven't even been doing for 10 years is crazy.
Yes.
Um, and there's a lot of hype around you and a lot of hype around players that are around you. And this whole next generation is here. They have the whole ad on DGN of you like messing with Gannon on the court and everything. I mean, all the different stuff that's going on. What is that like being in that conversation of you guys are the future of the sport? You're the next
Mm.
generation. Like, do you think about that? Is that something that you carry with you or like comes to mind? Or are you just like, this is what I'm doing. I have see a future in it.
Yeah, I mean, wow, that's a great question because I've never really thought of it a lot that way. I
Mm.
kind of view myself as a part of the field, not really in the next part of the field.
Yeah.
Um, so I view myself as the game of now more than the game of the future, more so, even though I
Mm.
probably will be around for a lot longer than some of the guys that are still playing.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, for right now, that I kind of view it as, the fields will always be growing and changing for the rest of my life and for as long as I play disc golf. So, um, right now, like, yes, I am a part of the next generation, but I'm also part of the now generation. And I
Yeah.
try to view it as much of that way. And at the end of the day, it is super cool to be a part of that conversation in the next generation. And, all of these super talented kids under 20 years old who just want to win so bad. I mean, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, like, I don't see many other people joining the pro tour that are not 20 years of age or younger. Um, and it is a young sport, but it's also hopefully going to become a sport where it takes a lot of time to prepare your game and your body, and put it through some things that you probably won't want to put it through in order to keep up.
Mm,
Because right now, I think we're definitely seeing a spike in how serious people are taking this sport, and
for sure.
the training that's involved and the healthy eating that's also involved. Um, and so, like, even though I'm not perfect at it, like, obviously, I'm not taking out like an NBA, MLB type diet and training regimen right now, but I'm trying to push myself in that direction as much as I can, because I think that's where the game is going to go, and I think that's kind of like the next level of the game, especially with all of these courses and how much they keep changing. Your body's going to have to continue to change, and you're going to have to prevent injuries from happening. All those things. The worst injury I've had has been a split finger. I mean, thankfully,
Mhm.
I've never dropped out of a tournament or had to, not play because of a hurt knee or leg or shoulder or elbow or any sort of thing like that, thankfully. Um, but yeah, I love being a part of that next generation. It's all about, performing where I am now, and hopefully we'll just keep growing.
So it is really interesting because like that parallel from like athlete to athlete, I think does encompass a lot of different sports. And I think people probably underestimate the amount of physicality that it takes to be a professional disc golfer and to go on tour and to play
Yeah.
these courses 3-4 times in a weekend. Um, you have a sponsor with a chiropractic team.
Mhm.
How much does that impact you and your body and your skills and how much you can do physically?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just want to talk about that for a second
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Come on.
uh, Brandon Garland, he's the primary doctor. He actually owns the business. He started that business back in 2016 or 17, I'm pretty
That's
sure.
Oregon Sports and Family, right?
Yeah, Oregon Sports
Yep.
and Family Chiropractic, and he's like 25 minutes from my house, and so 3 days a
Wow.
week during the off season, I just drive over to his office in the morning. He'll meet me at 8 a.m. and we'll do about a 45-minute to an hour workout, and that'll be like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during the off season. It's really,
Wow.
really cool. He was my first sponsor back in 2019. He was the only
Wow.
logo on my back for the Next Gen Championship, and ever since then he's just had my back. We've been working out and training, and it's not as consistent as we would like for it to be, but anytime I'm home, it's at least twice, 2 to 3 times a week that I'm in his office working with him, and just getting adjusted. And he's got massage therapy, acupuncture, all these other things there as well that I also have access to. um, and yeah, he's just a huge help and a huge piece of my success, helping me understand my body and how it moves, how breathing can affect things. He's
Mm.
just a very intelligent guy and someone who just genuinely wants to help and support me in my game. So he's been an absolute massive support. He just provides me with so much care and things for free that I wouldn't be able to pay back. But he just wants to be a part of the journey, and I just love him and appreciate him for it. So yeah, it's been super cool, and I know the sport's not really at a place where a lot of players are able to have that, but for me to
Mhm.
be able to have that at not a financial expense is pretty incredible.
How did you get into that? Like what sparked that connection or like what took you to the company itself?
I mean, that's the coolest part about disc golf is a lot of things spark from random doubles leagues, right?
No
Where
way.
where you get carded with somebody and then they see the potential and they know what they do. And no,
Yeah.
seriously, it was a night of doubles at Shampoo State Park, and there's a weekly
Whoa.
Thursday doubles that I still go to whenever I'm home. I love going there. Brought Gannon there this last couple months when we were in Oregon,
That's
and
amazing.
it was so much fun. We got carded with Brandon one night. It was me, my mom, and him, and then I think it was actually just the three of us. No, he had a partner or something like that. I don't remember, but um, yeah, we just got talking. We're just getting to know each other, what he did, and like we were just talking about like what I might be wanting to do in disc golf and how I was playing basketball, and he's like, "Well, just come in and see me for a check-in or something at my
Yeah.
office. I'd love to show you the place, and I'd love
Wow.
to support you in any way that I can." And from that point forward, I mean, my career just started going up, his business
Mhm.
just started going up, and we've just kind of like grown together in a way. It was still
Wow.
very his business was only about a year, maybe less old at that
Uh,
point. And no, it's been super
yeah.
cool. And I don't think he's definitely had people show up where they're like who's like when they ask you on a fill out sheet like who brought you in or who mentioned how did you find out about us, and he's had some people write down my name for that, which is really really cool,
Whoa.
and he's gotten some exposure from it. But at the end of the day, I love him because that's not his main focus, and we're both just really appreciative of each other. And he just loves representing me, and I love representing
Mm.
him. It's just a
Yeah.
great relationship.
Were you doing chiropractic care before that? Like, is chiropractic obviously the big part of it? Obviously, he does a lot of training and stuff, but were you in chiropractic care prior to that?
Yeah, I'd gotten adjusted. I've been probably getting adjusted for quite a while now. It was probably
Okay.
about a year before that where I kind of like started understanding all of that, and how
Hmm.
important it is. So
For sure.
yeah,
What workouts are you taking with you and doing on the road on the tour?
I don't really do. That's funny. I don't really do anything he gives me to do on the road. I'll just be honest. Anything
Brandon,
he
if you're
gives,
listening, you're
yeah.
welcome. We got him to say it.
Got him.
Got him.
He he's so awesome. I mean, he writes me these whole spreadsheets of just like things I should be doing on the road and taking care of my body,
If you want to
and
send
like
them over to me, I'll do them.
there.
I will.
Yeah,
I will.
exactly.
I'll do
Yeah,
them.
he sends me these beautiful Google Docs of workouts, and like he's like pick three workouts for the day, three moves for the day. I like going to Planet Fitness and just kind of grinding, just kind of doing whatever I want to do. It's kind of free flowing with the workout and what I'm
Yeah.
feeling and what I want to do. I think that's how I get the most out of it, honestly. But when I'm with him at his office, we do all of the movements that I do not like. So that's when that's when I get the working out in that I don't want to do is when I'm with
Yeah.
him. But when he sends me the Google Doc with all of these moves that we do at the office, I'm like, you know what? I might do one or two of those, but for the most
Mhm.
part, I'm just gonna start putting some padding on all these ligaments. So yeah, yeah,
That's
That's
crazy.
so fun, dude.
That's
I
cool.
love that because there needs to be a little bit of like, I'm just gonna have fun with it. And that's like
sure,
if you're gonna go to the gym, you might as well friggin' enjoy it, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I'm like, I don't want to go to the gym. Like, I'm all for calisthenics, yoga, like everything body weight, and a lot of the
sure,
kind of style of that kind of stuff is just much more like I find more functional, like strength training more for my body type. Like, it makes more sense, and I see more results, and I don't get bored with it. I think it's like the fact that I
yeah,
can do it anywhere, kind of thing. But it is cool, and I mean the intentionality of the training, even though you're ignoring it the whole time on tour, it's okay. But what is that like? Are there other guys that you're working out with that you're seeing around you? Zach kind of touched on that. Like, not as many people are starting to do it, but not really. And you mentioned yourself, Cole, saying like, "Hey, what we're eating, what we're doing." Like, talk about that a little bit and how much that impacts, and as you kind of drive the eating, the intentionality behind disc golf working out.
sure, yeah. I started the year out really well, going to the gym like almost every day, every other day.
Wow.
I haven't been back in a while. I did a lot when I was home, obviously working with him. But yeah, there's kind of that crew. I mean, Austin Turner is built different. Ezra
Yeah.
Aderhold as well. You always see those guys at the Planet Fitness. Yeah, and there's some other people that sprinkle in. A lot of the pros have Planet Fitness memberships, so usually that local Planet Fitness to wherever the course is, you're going to get pros in there, at least one of them every single night. Um, and so, yeah, there's just a whole kind of squad of people. There's some people that just have no desire to work out, but then there's a lot of people that want to go like every single day. I'm one of those people that I'm like, I'm gonna go when I'm really feeling it because that's when I'm gonna get the most out of it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
as long as I'm keeping up with it and not like falling behind, like that's what's most important to me. I actually really agree with your. So where I was at was I really agree with your calisthenics thing. That's a lot of what a lot of the stuff that I do with Brandon. That's the stuff that I actually really hate, um, because you're a lot of it is like single leg deadlifts. Like I don't know if you've did
Mhm.
any stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Just
Yep.
like where you're isolating muscles.
Yep.
That is really really difficult, but it's so good. It's so good for
Mhm.
stability,
Yeah.
and understand like balance on T pads, wet
Yep.
surfaces,
For
on your own
sure.
hill slopes, hillsides. Being able to just tighten your core, tighten this like cinch down, and like breathe deeply through your stomach rather than like a lot
Mm.
through your upper body and your chest. Like
Yeah.
um, just so much breathing and a lot of isolating those muscles to strengthen the joints, strengthen the shoulders,
Mhm.
the glutes, the core, anything like that. So that's a lot of the stuff that we do at his office. And I have a hard time, and he has a hard time, just calling it a chiropractic office, because it's actually a lot more than that. It's more like he does a lot of rehab, recovery, and a lot of all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
You mentioned a couple things there. The stability, how it helps in like wet conditions.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that you also mentioned in this article that I was talking about. How like your first win like happened to be a rainy day, and you felt like that was an advantage for you. Is that consistent? Do you feel pretty good like going through your motions to stay clean on those releases?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, 1 second. I have to take this out of the oven before it burns.
Do it. Go.
It's not a good thing. Yeah, is not.
Then you can tell us about your stuffed animals, aka stuffed Mario.
Yeah, dude, Mario's the GOAT. He's the best travel partner you could ever have.
I feel like the mustache might be. We got a vibe. I mean, we got a cooking with Cole here. This just a new segment here on the podcast. Cooking with Cole.
My gosh. We got some salsa, rice, and chicken baked in a 9x13 dish. We're gonna throw some cheese on that.
Nice.
When it's all said and done. So,
yeah,
it's pretty. Should be pretty fire. Yeah, sorry about that. So,
anyway, I love it. We're definitely keeping that in for sure.
Just real quick, we got Balto the man here. He's got a mailman jacket on, and he's been by my side for a while. He was my first actually tour partner.
Wow.
Towards the end of last year, or a lot of last year. No, I think actually all of last year. He's been hunkering down in this corner right here.
So
and
cool.
Then Mario, I won at an arcade with I think my girlfriend in Colorado, like last year or the year before. I think it was last year. And he's also just been chilling. So these guys hold down the fort while I'm gone. And Balto was, I think I found him at a garage sale, and then I used to have a stuffed animal giraffe that had this mailman coat, and then the giraffe got destroyed by my dog. So then Balto took over. We got the promotion, and then Mario.
That dog is the size of a giraffe. That's crazy.
And Mario is just Mario.
I like how Mario's mouth is also his mustache. Like it's like kind of both.
Yeah, I'm a big Mario fan. I like playing those games.
Heck yeah! Which Mario game is the best?
Honestly, I will not have claimed to play all of them, but Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii was nice.
Yeah,
that was a good game. Yeah,
for sure. What's the Odyssey on the Switch that everyone's like, it's incredible and you like changes everything?
I have Odyssey and it is really good, but now I've found like so many moons to where I'm just frustrated that I can't find any more. So
yeah. That happens.
How it works. So anyway, back to your question about the rainy round. And winning my first tournament in that and feeling like I had the advantage. Definitely felt like I had the advantage. I'd say less from, I mean, yes, that's always a huge bonus from like how I train and all of that thing, but Pacific Northwest is rainy, guys. Like it's wet, you know. At most, probably like 80% of the practice rounds I play in the off season are just rain.
Wow.
And so I don't. It seems like there's a point in Oregon where you don't see the sun for 6 months because it's just clouds and rain every single day, or if not every other day. So it's kind of brutal, but you learn to find those flows of like the towel and the umbrella and what your caddy needs to be doing, what you need to be doing, and how to kind of like let the rain get out of your head. There's a lot of players that as soon as it gets wet, they're thinking about the rain more than thinking about their shots. And I feel like I found a good rhythm and routine to where I'm not really thinking about the rain anymore. I'm more or less thinking about what I'm doing to execute because I have all the other things figured out. So whenever the rain comes, I feel like there's some moments where it's just like a lot and annoying, but when it comes, I'm like, oh yeah, like this is where all of those Texans or Florida people or Arizona people who don't play in a lot of rain, this is where I kind of get to step up and make it happen. So, moving into Portland this
Yeah.
year, that was kind of a wet, rainy final round. I ended up playing
Yeah.
really well. And so
Amazing.
when that
Did you even
when
rain
that
jacket, by the way? Or were you just like, screw it, I'm just taking this?
I did not have a raincoat. I hate playing in rain jackets.
No,
It
I
just
never
not-
have been able
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, I wore this really thin layered pullover that actually it like it like dries. It's so thin it just dries out really quickly. So it got a little wet, but through the wind and the breeze, it honestly dried out really fast.
Nice.
But yeah, anyway, so like once that round started at Portland, I was like, if you're gonna have any chance at winning this tournament, these are the conditions that you're gonna do it in, because
Yep.
it's going to be hard for a lot of people to shoot really hot in this. And if you think you can, then let's go out and do it. And I think that's where a lot of the putting confidence came from. I think that's where a lot of the shot making confidence came from. And yeah, thankfully it's always worked in my favor. So
Yeah, let's talk
That's
about
really cool.
one of your newer sponsorships, Vivo Barefoot. That's obviously a big part of grip, big part of, you know, talk about the intentionality of what you're doing with disc golf and everything. What was it like being sponsored by them? What was your barefoot journey? I've been barefoot for full, like, almost 2.5 years now. Full Vivo, full all the things and whatnot. It's been life changing. But what got you into that? And what's it been like being sponsored by them?
yeah, totally, absolutely. I'd say it's more of like an ambassadorship right now than a sponsorship. There's not, the only thing I really have is a discount code. But it is really cool kind of being a part of representing them, because their shoes are just, I don't know if I'd play in anything else. Like I've thought about it and thought about like, you know, trying to find some other Terex or something like that, but it's just not for me. I love the barefoot feel because when you're out there in the mud or in the woods or something, you're stepping on sticks and roots and everything, you can feel whatever's under your feet.
Yeah.
You don't just have this, you know, half-inch thick sole underneath your foot, to where it's just like your foot is like at the same level the whole time. Like at the end of the day, like when like man was like created, we walked barefoot. Like that's just what it was. Like our feet are designed to, they have so many different bones and things in them to like work together and like walk on pretty treacherous things. Like that's like part of human creation. So like I think that wearing barefoot shoes is essential to success in grip and finding ways to feel the ground under your feet. And I just think that's why I can't wear anything else for disc golf. It's just my foot's made to move more than just be trapped, you know, in a shoe.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, I love it.
What models are you wearing? Are you rocking the Magnas like everybody? Or are you trying different kind of stuff? Or what's the models you've been rocking?
Yeah, so I was rocking the Magna Trails for a while, and now I guess they've done without the Magna Trails. Now it's the Magna Leather FGs or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm rocking the Magna Leathers, and then there's the Magna Light Trail or something like that.
Yeah, the Magna Light. The tread's different.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's like a softer sole, so it's actually a lot grippier, and the tread is a little sharper, like almost cleat style. And I love that for the rain. So I'm rocking.
How are those holding up? Are they holding up as well?
I only played the Beaver State Fling and the lights because I just got them recently. So I'm trying them out, but I like the Magna leathers a little bit better. I feel like they're like the leather and the sole are a little bit stiffer, so they're not like moving as much. The Magna lights are a little, I don't know, like stretchy or bendy. So like they have a lot of really good grip, but also the shoe kind of moves under my foot a little more than I'd like.
Yeah.
So right now it's the Magna leathers that I really love, but if it gets wet or rainy, then I think the lights are going to be what I go with. So.
Heck yeah. I haven't worn the lights yet. I had the low top versions. I forget what they're called. But they're like green ones. And the tread on them wore out way faster than I thought it was going to. It kind of surprised me.
Gotcha.
But I mean, if you're with the tour moving towards more turf tee pads, I feel like that's better for shoes all around, better for grip, and it's going to be more consistent across the board. No doubt about it. Well, let's get it back in. I mean, you just talked about it already, going into Portland, I mean, being a Beaver State Fling, I mean, having this kind of home swing as it's been. What was that like, man? What is it? Is it a homecoming? I mean, you had the heart hands. I mean, you could see the emotion, like us watching on DGN. Like you could tell it just meant more. Like, what was it like playing in front of the home crowd?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I just smile thinking about it because it's so awesome. It's so fun. Every time I come back to Portland and walk on the Glendoveer and just look around and see, I literally know all of the volunteers. Like any volunteer I look at, I'm like, I know you, I know you, I know you, and a lot of the tournament staff as well, and just a lot of the companies that set up in the vendor village and sponsor the tournament. Like I can walk through the vendor village and give a bro hug to like everybody on the vendor tents and all that.
Love it.
Like I just have there's just so many people that I know, and it's my home. It's the disc golf community I grew up in, playing all the local doubles leagues, all of the C tiers, the B tiers. Just to be able to talk shop, talk disc golf with everyone that I see is just so special. I just walk on Glendoveer and smile, and I get to show all my tour friends, what Oregon disc golf is. Everybody gets to drive Portland. If you drive through Portland, it's actually a really cool drive with the river going through it and everything. And it's just an absolutely beautiful area. It's unfortunate the city has gotten a little more dangerous over the years, but it really is just a beautiful place to be. And it's so special. Everybody's like, what's your favorite place on tour? I'm like, got a hard time saying anywhere other than home.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, Oregon it's just got a special place in my heart. I don't think I'll be leaving it anytime soon. But as soon as we hit that drive from OTB up north to Portland, you just have a grand view of Mount Shasta. You drive through some amazing lakes and mountains and hills, and so yeah, it's so surreal to play. Those are also the biggest crowds I think we've had all year up until this point.
Yeah.
So Portland's got a massive disc golf scene. People love it, and I just love that they will all show out. I mean, hey, even in a rainy day, Portland's going to show out because they're used to it.
As a normal day.
Absolutely, we love disc golf, and a lot of it. I'll say like probably like the two biggest moments of the tournament was when I hit that putt on 7. I fist bumped and then turned around to the crowd. I might have done that on every circle 2 putt I hit.
I was about to say, I think it was every single time.
Yeah, but I think like those first 6 or 7 holes, I think those the first 7 holes was just like the most special like 7-hole stretch of disc golf, or like most fun stretch of disc golf I think I've ever played. Just being able to look back in the crowd, see all of my friends back there, all of the hometown is just it's unbelievable. It feels like when they like, I kind of feel bad for Gannon because he was winning the tournament, but they announced Gannon Burr like winning the tournament and he got loud cheers, but like they were cheering for me before he even said my name. Like there were hoots and hollers, and then all of a sudden like this eruption, and I just like I couldn't throw. I couldn't walk up to the pad without giving hard hands to everybody. I'm just like it felt incredible. Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
That's huge, man. It's like so many cool moments too. Like honestly, the one that really stood out to me was that eagle putt on hole 18 in round 3 to put you on lead card for the final round.
Insane.
Oh, that was so sick.
I do want to touch on that because
I'm literally have the video on my other monitor right now. It's stupid, man.
I couldn't believe it. That was such a stressful last few holes, and I kept telling my caddy too. I'm like, look, I just need to keep pushing because I can make lead card that final round. And we got to hole 18 and we were looking at scores, and he's like, I don't think you need eagle here. Like I think you just keep it in bounds and play for the birdie. You got lead card. And I looked at scores and I'm like, I'm sick and tired of people stealing lead card for me. I'm like, I'm not gonna let it happen again. Like, yes, I could probably birdie and have a chance, but if I eagle, I'm going to make lead card. And I threw my drive up there. We got out and we ranged it at like 470 to the basket, 450 to the basket. I said, well, I'll just give it a chance and put it up there, and put it to I think it was about 40, 45 feet short. Yeah. And thankfully I had the ceiling available through those low branches, and I felt so nervous, but I feel like through some of the experience I've had in the past, it all felt under control. It all felt like I was supposed to be there. Like this moment was like made for me, kind of a thing. Like I was there doing the thing that I love, and I was set up for success in that moment. And so I told myself, I said, look, just this is for, and I will say, my girlfriend came and watched those last 2 days. So she was there for that third round. And everybody had just been going crazy all around. And I said, I have to make this putt. Like this, I know this is for a lead card final round at my favorite tournament in the world. I have to make this. And as soon as I let that putt go and it went in, like, I just like, I don't know, like it was probably the best feeling I've ever had. Besides tapping in at Ledgestone, like there's no doubt about it. Yeah, to make that putt on that elevated basket, and then if you see the video, my caddy behind me just like turns around and just goes super hype mode. Like, and big shout out to Hunter. He's such an awesome, phenomenal guy and so supportive on the bag. Just wants what's best for me the whole round. Hunter's amazing, but to share that moment with him and with the family and have the crowd there around 18, everybody knows what's going on, and to just seal the deal with that putt and to be able to show up the next day was surreal for sure.
Man.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I think playing for the home crowd, like you said it in the interview and everything too, like playing for the home crowd and performing for them was the main goal. And the energy that was just consistent. I mean, you literally are smiling from ear to ear. Like you might need to massage your jaw. Like you're literally like, you're so like, and that was weeks ago and you're still carrying that energy.
Totally.
Man, it's so special. Like being able to see that in the hometown advantage. And I feel like our sport, we talked about this on the podcast, I think last week, that our sport's starting to get the fan bases in certain areas. And Portland is definitely one of them. Charlotte, Portland, like Maple Hill, there's these spots where the fans make it to where you want to play there and you look forward to it. But then you add in that's your home. Like, dude, that's the best. And you played with a confidence, with a swagger. Germ, I don't know if you heard this, but Germ on, I think it was second shot on 14. I think you had thrown something. I forget. He was like, you talking to your caddy, like, yeah, I was going to do that. Yeah. And Germ was like, yeah, the swagger on this man, like just like absolute. It was wild.
Totally. Yeah. It was unbelievable. Like, and yeah, you said it right. Like nobody wants to go to their hometown and just lay an egg and just play terrible. I mean, that's not what you want to do. I'm like, look, I don't care where I finish in this tournament. I just want to play in front of the people that supported me and pushed me in this game. And I knew that I had been hearing it all week. Like, dude, everyone I've talked to is like, dude, I just want to watch Cole this weekend. I just want to watch him win this thing, I just felt so much love before the tournament even started from people saying, good luck, pulling for you, from every single person that I saw out and about and on the course. All I wanted to do was make them proud, make them happy. Yeah. And my season hadn't been up to the standards I would have liked up until that point. And so I'm like, look, if I walk away anything from this weekend, regardless of my place, I just want to represent Oregon well, and I want to represent the people who I've grown up in the sport with really well. That was absolutely special for sure.
Yeah. And you got to battle with Ricky down the stretch. And talk about the last hole. That last hole was chaos. It was literal chaos in the final round.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I'll just back it up to 17 real quick, where I missed those 3 putts in a row. I was definitely feeling really nervous on that first one. But I had that tree behind me. And so it kind of limited my ability to use the lower body. I felt like I had to use a little more upper body. It was also a really weird wind. Like the wind coming off of 18 was like a head left to right crosswind. And so, usually when you I'm a hyzer putter. So usually when you put the disc like this in a wind, it's going to push that disc down, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, just give it the height, put it on hyzer, can't really use the lower body. So I used a lot more arm on that putt, and that just and I was surprised because it just kind of stayed in the air. It didn't drop as fast as I expected. Then it got that skip off the band and almost rolled OB.
Yeah.
And so there was like nothing about those putts that necessarily felt bad. The wind was weird. And so on that comeback putt too, now I have a right to left crosswind while I'm hyzer putting, so now it's going to lift my disc. And so I'm like, oh shoot. So now I just tried to putt it board flat, and it still stayed up and skipped off the top. And so I felt like I was trying to do a good job at, reading the putt and staying confident. And I really do think they were confident putts because they were center, even though they were high. Like they were on the pole, they were just high.
Right.
And so thankfully I made that comebacker, but that was pretty brutal because I knew that was to go one up on them going into the last hole. But even after I missed those three, I told my caddy, and like, I didn't even look at him. I just faced towards 18. I'm like, it's never over till it's over.
Yeah.
And so Ricky threw his drive on 18. I'm like, cool, it's just a drive. And went and did the same thing through my drive. And then unfortunately, he had that headwind in a forehand trying to hyzer out. It's a really tough wind to throw a forehand in. The wind just stood it up a little too much and threw it OB. And then that skip he got on the second shot was just absolutely wild. Like after he threw that first one OB, I'm like, okay, he'll probably get up and down. I guess we'll tie for second. I was doing everything I can. I threw a great up shot, but I didn't really feel like anything special. Just like that driver up shot was like something I'd thrown so many times before. And it's a pretty big bubble up by that green. So I'm like, okay, just smash it hard and flat. It'll give you a little bit of turn. But yeah, once I saw Ricky's shot just skip OB, Gannon walks right up next to me. He's like, dude, don't do anything stupid, but you got second locked up, I think.
That sounded exactly like Gannon. Can I just say that real quick? That was really good.
Yeah, it's like, hey, don't do anything stupid, man. Don't do anything stupid. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was pretty.
What a finish.
I felt bad for him, but I felt bad for Ricky because it did feel a little undeserved in the moment, but then again, I also appreciate him throwing me that bone. So
thanks, Ricky. We appreciate it.
$1,000 steak dinner.
Yeah,
on you, right?
A little different. Ricky's doing all right. He'll be okay.
Yeah, he'll
be okay. Before we head to some quick questions here, we got some questions from the staff from DGA, some community questions. I want to talk about another putt that was complete opposite situation heading into Beaver State Fling. This putt is ridiculous, but it was for such different, moment being able to make the cash line. This putt was stupid. Like you were so on it and said, "Oh, it's in," and it was not even 40 feet out of your hand. And I'm watching it right now on my other monitor. Germ's reaction to this clip is so freaking funny. Like, oh my gosh, what was going through your head in there? I mean, it was how far was that putt?
Yeah, Beaver State Fling. I haven't even made an Instagram post about this because I just felt like I was just so embarrassed that whole time. Honestly, I would just say I wasn't a huge fan of the design this year. I mean, I'm a local to Milo, so I just love the original layout so much. It's really hard for me to play anything different out there. And they added a lot of out of bounds, and over time it's just grown in. The lines have gotten tighter and all those things, and so it hasn't really felt like the Milo of old. And so it was just really hard for me mentally to go there and play that course and not play the true Milo that I love. Even though we are still out Milo, just like that extra little bit was pretty annoying, but it was just really hard for me to look past that. And I felt like my game felt really good all week, but it also was like the hottest temperatures we've played in all year is like mid 80s, which it never gets that hot in Oregon. But yeah, it was warm. It was toasty. Like I was sweating. I hadn't really experienced that. I just felt like almost too loose out there. And so yeah, it just wasn't one of my greatest weeks. And my attitude was garbage. Like I was just not in a good headspace, good mental space. Shout out Brandon, my chiropractor. He caddied for me the 3 rounds and dealing with all my garbage throughout the 3 days. I just really appreciate him. But yeah, it was just rough. I just wasn't in a good mental space. And but we got to that final round, and I think I was a stroke or two out of the cash line. And I had one of my good buddies who plays golf in college come out and watch me. It was really cool to have him there for the front 9. And I was just I don't know. I was just a little bit fired up. I was like, how to play this course, how to play Milo. And it was still kind of a slow start until we got to the last 3 holes. And I just kind of had this weird feeling that I just wasn't going to miss cash. Even though I was outside of the cash, I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I have a good game plan for these final few holes.
Yeah.
And my putt had my game didn't even feel bad that week. I just wasn't really executing. Sometimes it feels great and you're just not quite there. And so we get to hole 16, throw a good drive, throw a good upshot, and make this like 30-foot straddle putt. I'm like, okay, there's one. And we get to 17, and I leave it low left, and I'd have nothing. I have to pitch a forehand out, and I'm like 550 feet from the basket. And I told Brandon, I said, well, I can still get up and down from here. I just got to throw a big one down to the landing zone. And like, this is all super nonchalant. Like, literally, we're talking like as I'm sounding right now. I'm like, yeah, I can probably just get up there. It's like 540 feet. Just leave myself with some like look from 90 or 100 feet.
No big deal.
And I kid you not, I could not hit this drive more perfect. Came out of my hand, perfect turn, right to the spot where I wanted it. Wasn't too pinched on the left side, so I had a ceiling on the right side, but it was just far enough to where it was makeable. And we get up there, and I look at it, I'm like, hey, that's pretty doable. And I saw this one little tiny branch up and to the right of the basket. And I was just thinking in my head as soon as I walked up to that putt, I'm like, if you hit that branch, it's in the basket. Like it the way the disc is going to finish after that branch, it's going to go in. And so I just kind of took a little bit more time on that one. I leaned back a little more, and as soon as I let it go, I saw how straight it was going at that branch. Like it was released right at this branch. And so that's where that like initial hype came from. Like while I'm watching this disc fly, like I know it's heading towards that branch, which I've already put in my mind that basically means you made the putt because the natural flight, all that stuff. And as soon as I saw it barely tickle the branch and just like start going towards the basket, I like my body just started going crazy and running it down. It was sweet. But no, to make 100-footer on that basket, it was also one of those moments where it was like, this kind of do or die, you're making money or you're not.
Right.
So I stepped up to it. I said, all right, hit the branch, and thankfully it came out of my hand on the right line, and I made the putt. It was sweet.
Yeah, I love the comments on it here are so funny. It's like, is there any highlight with Germ not in it? Like, it's so funny.
Yeah, that was
so
hilarious.
funny. I love it. Well, let's jump to some questions here. Some quick questions. We got questions from the DGA office.
Sweet.
Yeah, so we already hit these already. They were asking some stuff here. You hit some of them already. But what kind of car do you drive?
I drive a 2009 Volkswagen GTI. That is my favorite. Ooh. That was my first car. When I first got a driver's license, that was the first car I ever owned. And thankfully, it was flat towable. So I'm traveling full-time in an RV right now, but I got that thing hooked up with the flat tow this last off-season. And now I'm towing that car around tour. So that's what I drive to each event, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's got a little turbo in it, and it's a manual transmission.
I was about to ask that.
I love the manual.
Yeah, so much fun, man.
Yeah, such a fun car. It's like a go-kart around here.
Yeah,
no kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it. Now that you can do that, how has touring changed? Is it like, I can just leave my van somewhere, take my car? Like, no one else is really doing that combo, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year was actually pretty brutal. Traveling, I was staying at campgrounds, but I only had the RV. So I was driving, I had to come to the campground, hook everything up. And then the next morning I'd unhook everything and then drive to the course with the RV. And mind you, some of these courses and some of the places we have to park are just not good. There's like, they're muddy sometimes, there's branches overhanging it. So finding a parking spot, they're uneven and not level. Yeah. And so driving the RV in those spots is just really tough. And so, it's been an absolute game changer. I park my RV for the week, plug it all in, and then I just unhook the car, and I have a vehicle to and from my house.
That's
pretty awesome. Yeah.
Who are your favorite players to hang out with on tour?
Well, I have a freshly new good buddy, Luke Taylor. Actually, was hanging out with him a lot at Champions Cup. Got to know him a little bit more, and he and I just carry the same energy. Like, we will just go all day. We will play basketball all day. We'll play pickleball all day. Like, we'll play disc golf. Like, we just want to be doing stuff. We just want to be out doing stuff. Cool. We're not somebody that just wants to sit down and watch a movie. Like, I will, because I'm bored sometimes and there's just nobody to hang out with. But he is just that go as well. So he and I just won't stop. It's so much fun. And then like anyone, in the Eagles Wings disc golf crew, like we're all believers and Christians on tour, and we just love uplifting each other and hanging out with each other. Justin Rozak, Ty Love, Evan Smith, Silas Schultz, the Robinson brothers, just a lot of these super uplifting young core of guys that are just we just have a great time bonding and encouraging each other. And I think that's such a vital thing to have on tour, is have that kind of a community of guys who just love you and have your back, and you also have theirs, through the good finishes and the bad finishes, because it's a grind. And if you don't have a community out here, it's tough. If you feel lonely out here on tour, I don't know how you're still doing it. So
yeah, the community is so important. And I love that, like that you have that community of believers around you. Like that's such a special thing to have. Like myself, like having that small group, having people around me, having I run audio for a lot of churches and stuff like that. And it's like finding certain places I go to and stuff. I'm like, all right, I'm at this campus this week. I get to see these people, and it changes things. Your community and who you're doing life with means more than sometimes what you're even doing. You're like, oh yeah, I don't really want to go to this place, but I get to spend time with them. And like that means the world. So I love that you have that community, and being, like you said, being so young, having guys around you that are going through the same things. Like there's not a lot of relatability between a lot of that stuff going on, or people back home don't really get what it looks like. But when you got people around you, that means the most. So I love that.
And I'll be honest, like I made a reel after I won Ledgestone last year. And in the part of the caption, it was like a bunch of slow-mo videos Johnny Disc Golf took during the event. And I put them all together and made a reel to one of my favorite songs from For King and Country. And the last slide was like all of my friends just lifting me on their shoulders after I put in that winning putt. And I put in the caption like that kind of like, brotherhood like between us, and like, that kind of a mentality is like definitely way more special than the win itself. Like to have all of them just kind of like embrace me and lift me up like that, and just be there and support, and like in such a congratulatory way, because at the end of the day, like we're trying to beat each other every week. Like, yes, we're really close friends, but I want to beat them just as much as they want to beat me. And so to have them lift me up in that way was so special. Because you don't find that in a lot of other places. So
yeah, man, I love that. That's shout out to those guys. I mean, you got to tag them all and do that. That's awesome. I love that. Zach, what do you got?
Yeah, so we did a quick break for your chicken, salsa, and rice. But what are your like go-to foods, or like tell us a little bit about your diet, because you've mentioned it a couple of times. We just I'd like to hear more about it.
Yeah, totally. Well, I do like kind of like yogurt. I try to make some like parfaits, put some frozen blueberries on there.
Are you a Chobani guy? Are you Greek yogurt? Or are you like, bro, I'm hardcore Yoplait whips? What is your?
I'm not. If I put Yoplait in my system, I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Dude, thank you. My girlfriend is so Yoplait, and I'm like, no, Jules, give Chobani, and she's like, it tastes like trash, and she won't do it.
Chobani's good. I try to go for the organic organic whole milk yogurt. That's what I go for.
We got it.
Yes, and I'll put some blueberries, maple syrup in there, sweeten it up a little bit, and put some granola on there as well. That's super yummy. We'll do some bread, and we'll fry up 2 eggs and put 1 egg on each piece of bread, put some greens on there, put some mayo on there. That's always pretty good.
And you can cook in your RV, like you said, you have like a little oven, you have like a stove out there.
Yeah, I do.
Heck yeah.
And for dinners, I like to do a lot of burgers. So I'll get some meat from the store. I'll make some burger patties, throw them in the freezer. I'll do tacos. Those are super easy. And yeah, I mean, what else do I do? Like chicken and rice, barbecue chicken sandwiches. That's always usually really yummy. I do a bunch of salads and greens. I did a lot of pancakes that first year on tour, but we'll just say I was gaining a little more in the wrong direction that you'd want to be. So we don't do pancakes anymore. I had some at home, but we don't make them in the RV. I don't even keep the stuff to make it in the RV anymore because it's too tempting. I love pancakes and
they're so good, man.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. I need to do better at exploring, maybe make some meatballs or some soups and stuff, because those are pretty easy if you get the hang of them. But yeah, for right now, it's just all those stuff.
A buddy of mine, thank you for that, by the way. A buddy of mine wanted to know, have you ever seen the movie Space Jam?
Oh my gosh, no! I want to
What?
see it so bad.
You're
Get
a
outta here,
basketball
Cole.
phenomena.
Get
No.
out of here, Cole.
Thanks so much for joining us, Cole. We really appreciate your time. We're gonna cut all of this. You haven't seen Space Jam.
I want to see it so bad,
And not the LeBron one. No.
Got to see the
The
original.
Michael,
I need
like Charles Barkley.
So, I have a confession to make. I watched like the first 5 minutes of the LeBron one and shut it off.
Good.
Because
Rightfully so.
it wasn't great, but if I want to watch the Jordan one, I have to like rent it, which I just need to flat out.
I will
do,
Venmo you to watch this. I'll buy it for you. You will have it on your phone. I'll buy it for you.
Okay.
Anyway, continue, Zach.
I need to see Space Jam.
Yeah. So the whole question was, he wants to just hold a disc at the same time that you hold a disc, just to see if he can steal your talent from you, or maybe just like gain a little bit from you.
I got you.
So if we ever meet you in person, we might have to make that happen.
As long as I don't lose it, we're good.
Okay.
Oh, you'll
perfect.
lose it. That's the whole premise of the movie.
It is the premise of the movie, but we'll
have you ever seen Thunderstruck? Have you seen that movie with Kevin Durant, where his talents went to the kid? I forget the kid's name, but they touched the same basketball, and Kevin was washed from that.
Or you go, kick it back to Lil Bow Wow, like Mike.
That's
yes,
right.
Yo,
man,
that movie
Mike
is
the
off
goat.
the wall.
So good.
When they freaking paint the whole house, like that movie is so good, dude. I love that movie.
Mike is the best.
So
all right,
good.
Back to like a more serious question. What molds are you really vibing with this season?
Oh man, Proline Aftershock. Don't get me wrong, hands down, my favorite mid. Yes, the limeys, the old ones.
This is a lightweight one.
It's a lightweight one.
166.
That's tough. You need the 180s. You need the heavier guys.
Well, I had one, and then I threw the heck out of it, and it broke. It's got a hole in it. So rest in peace.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I need to.
Oh, okay. All right. I actually took a knife to it on purpose.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, no, the Aftershocks, the First Flight Hypercanes, I've been throwing the Avalanche really well. I throw those Marweed Glow ones for a little bit straighter, and then we have the First Flight ones that came out really overstable.
Those things are beef.
I've been throwing my commemorative Hypercane from last year's Ledgestone. I really love those. Those came out really nice and overstable.
Is it the Color Glow ones?
The Color Shift. Yeah.
Color Shift,
sparkly ones. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And then,
I have two of them. I haven't thrown them before, though. I need to get out in the field.
I'm throwing the heck out of a D-Line Steady BL. Such a good throw.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, I love feeling that base plastic. I feel like I got so much control over it. So the Steady BL.
How far are you throwing that thing?
Not gonna lie, I threw it on a 400-foot par 3 today and put it inside circle 1. So
on flat ground?
I'm done with this interview.
We'll just say it was over water. So.
Oh my!
Yeah.
So you had to, dude. There's no opportunities to
it was
shy.
getting over. It wasn't. But then I lost it. Actually, 2 holes later, and I threw it in some water, so that's not good.
Ha! Deserving.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's absolutely wild.
They do. I mean, I put an Instagram post. I was a little short course I was throwing around, and I was like, all right, Cole's throwing the D-Line Steady BLs right when I got with sponsored by DGA this year, and I took a bunch of BLs out, and I hit the basket, green DL on the green basket, and I was like, all right, Cole's right. They're good.
Yep.
They go far. They go extremely far. But I'm jamming with the surf and the sonar right now, and throwing those. The glow sonars are overstable, and they are really fun if you haven't thrown those yet.
I haven't thrown the glow sonars. I've thrown the glow surf though, and it flies incredible.
Yeah.
So I need to get my hands on the glow surf and throw and bag that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
I was looking at one of your in the bags, and I saw a disc that admittedly I'd never even heard of in my entire life. The Titanic. Talk about this.
So,
when we say talk about this, hype this up to make people want this disc.
Rest in peace. The Titanic is no longer in the bag. Sorry.
Oh no!
It is limited. I have limited spots in the bag, man. Like I gotta fill that bag with some champion stuff, and so like unfortunately the Titanic is long gone, and I don't throw it anymore. But that does not say that disc is bad by any means at all. If I did not have the Steady BL, I'd be throwing the heck out of the Titanic still. I was throwing the Pro Line ones from old for a while. Scott really just did not appreciate that, and I loved it too. Like I was posting story after story of me throwing this thing, and how much it was like weirdly overstable but straight. Like I could throw it on some anhyzer and it would come back, but it was like super slow, and it was just a weird flying disc, but I absolutely loved it. And once I started throwing the D-line steady BLs, it just overlapped it a little too much. So that's why it kind of left the back. But I have no hate for that thing, dude. I'd bag it right now if I didn't have the DL steady BLs. So
okay, that's funny because
yeah,
I'd never even heard of it, and it's cool to know that it has a place like in your heart, essentially.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, forever.
Yep. That happened to me with the Riptide. I got handed like a bunch of like random old discs of DGA stuff that a local guy had, and it was a Riptide, and it's like a 8-speed, 9-speedy kind of like straight to pusher, and but it's like. Yeah, it's a weird flight. It's like kind of flip up, but like kind of the pipeline bonsai like mix somewhere in between. But yeah, it's weird disc. But let's talk about the pipeline because you've been your Tour Series disc for a bit now. How many years? It's been 2 years, right? Or has it been 3?
2 years. Yep.
2 years. Okay. Talk about what the Tour Series disc means to you and the stamp design and kind of. I mean, you're bagging these, you're throwing these, you're hyping them up.
Yeah, absolutely. I bagged both years. I bagged last year's and this year's. I think they complement each other very well. This year I was going for a flatter, more overstable design. We got that nose up on the outside, which if you're not a disc nerd, the nose on the outside of the disc actually, if you bring it up and closer to the flight plate, it makes the disc much more overstable. And so we were going for a much more overstable pipeline. I'm not a huge fan of the feel of the bonsai personally. The bonsai flies amazing, but the field just doesn't quite get it done for me. So I was like, if I can find a way to create an overstable pipeline, that's right in that slot that I needed to fill. So had to make an overstable pipeline for my Tour Series this year, and it complemented last year. Last year was kind of flippy. This year is pretty overstable. So I'm throwing both of those out there, depending on the shot for sure. And last year was like a little more domey. And the whole point of like having the pipeline is like, I want my Tour Series disc to be available for everyone, for all arm speeds. I'm throwing the pipeline and my mom throws the pipeline. I mean, it's a great disc for all skill levels. And no matter how hard or far you throw, like I'll give a pipeline to my best friend who wants to go play disc golf but has no idea what he's doing out there. But I'll also throw the pipeline on some 400-foot straight control fairway driver shots. Like it's very versatile, like some mid ranges. And I can't love it more. And then with the stamp this year, I went with the basketball theme because as we've discussed in this interview, like that other sport means a lot to me. Just finished watching the NBA Finals. Rest in peace, Mavs. I was really hoping for them, but hey, it was a good watch.
It was. The Celtics are so good, bro. Once they picked up Drew Holiday, it's like game over.
Which I'm really sad because they actually stole from the Blazers. So we got Drew, and then I was like, oh, maybe it's not all hope is lost after Dame left, and then all of a sudden Drew left, and I'm like, all right, well, now I'm not even a Portland fan anymore. I'm a Damian Lillard fan. I will claim to be a Damian Lillard fan. I'm not stuck to any team. I'm stuck to Dame, and I rock the Dame basketball shoes. I have the Dame 8s, man. Like I'm all in for Dame winning the title. So
he's the truth.
You know where I'll be when Dame wins the title and be eyes glued to the screen. So
yeah. I was gonna say I was like, I'm a big Warriors fan, so it wasn't my year, but we had a good run. Run.
Totally.
We'll see.
Yeah. And then last year's stamp was just kind of like a first go. I mean, it's my first Tour Series, so we just kind of went with the pipeline wave vibe, and that's what we were going for. So
both amazing discs, and I love that that's the heart behind it because it's like obviously you want to sell them, you make money when you sell them, but being able to hand it to anyone, your mom throws it, whatever, like brand new players can do it. Almost every time I throw a pipeline, a couple in the bag, the new PL ones are really flippy, and I can throw them. And people are like, "What was that disc?" I'm like, "Pipeline." Next hole, I'll throw a Tour Series one. They're like, "What was that disc?" A pipeline. Like it's like, wait, that's the same disc. Like it's so
exactly.
So, so cool. Well, as we kind of wrap up here, heading into the Preserve. Last year, you had a amazing showing here. You finished, I believe, in second place, right?
Yeah, tied for second with Calvin.
Yeah. Yep. So what is your expectation heading into this? How are you feeling coming out of, the energy? I mean, like you said, you've been smiling the whole time, taking the energy with you. How's the vibes? What are you feeling about Portland? Or it's not Portland,
I'm really,
Preserve.
I'm really excited for this tournament. My throwing abilities feel better than ever right now. That's for sure. I feel like I'm at a place in the form and my technique and how I'm throwing the disc that feels very mostly like most under control that I've felt in a long time. So that's really nice as always. And I really think it's just going to come down to my putting. I feel like with good putting brings also throwing confidence because then you know you don't have to park everything, which makes your throwing a little bit better. So I feel like as long as we can keep those putts locked in, keep making some of those circle twos and making all of those circle ones, I think I'd have a really solid chance at taking this one down this weekend. I shot 15 down that final round last year, and there's not a lot of changes to the course this year, and I think that'd probably be a very repeatable score. So game feels great, body feels great, feels really refreshed and rejuvenated after a great time at home and spending some time with the home people. I really think Beaver State Fling was just kind of a fluke, and thankfully I was still able to get out of there in the cash. But this week I'm very much looking forward to getting back to work. So
yeah, I mean 15 down there is disgusting. Like so that is absolutely so hot, dude. Yeah, which was only matched by Ricky in round one, looking at it last year. So yeah, and then I mean Eagle shot the 14 down final round as well. So yeah, I mean as we wrap up here, one last question. What is it like? I mean, like I said, you're newer to the sport, I mean, I've been playing since 2010. Zach's been playing around the same time too. So we've seen some names that are, we're at the top, legends, whatever. What's it like being surrounded by guys that you watched on YouTube that are now you're battling with week in and week out? What's that been like?
Yeah, it's pretty unreal. It's kind of like I feel like the biggest thing that I struggle with comparison wise is like the size of their brands and stuff. Like when you see them, you don't really just see them. You see like everything that they've accomplished, all of their branding and everything like that. So if there's anything intimidating, it's more that than like their actual game itself. Because I can throw any shot that Paul can throw. I can throw any shot that Ricky can throw, maybe except for like a 500-foot forehand, but I'm still working on it. But yeah, I mean, the only thing that really makes those guys, I'd say, like greater in the sense of accomplishments in the sport is their titles and their bank accounts. Essentially, like those guys are doing it right for disc golf right now. So it is really intimidating, but at the end of the day, I also have to recognize that I'm on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I belong where I'm at, and I'm worthy of any second, first, third place that I earn myself out here. So I think I've been doing a lot better lately of, viewing them as just my competitors and the people that I will be competing with for many more years to come. And it is really, really cool to feel like you're battling with the people that you've grown up watching. And I think that was like super, super cool. Those like first 2 years, but like I said, somehow I'm already on my 4th year, and now it really feels like I'm out here trying to beat those guys. I don't really think about it too much anymore. Just kind of like, all right, I'm here with this guy, and it's time to go to work. So
if you could put together like a dream card, like on tour right now, you had to pick 3 guys to play with. Do you have a 3?
Well, I mean, maybe this counts. Nate Doss just played in his first tournament.
Hey, I'll take that. Yes,
I'll take it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I'd throw Doss on there just because I've actually like never played around with him. I'd love to play around with him. I think his game is so smooth. He has such a clean backhand. Such a nice putt as well. I mean, he's a 3-time world champion. People like kind of underestimate that, undersell that sometimes. So love
he's
to put
so
Doss
smooth, man. It's so simple. His game is so simple. He throws like 3 discs. It's crazy.
It's so good. So I put Nate Doss on there. And Paul Macbeth, I've been connecting with him pretty well this year as well. I love Paul. I love his demeanor. He's super chill. Such an awesome human as well. And everything that he does with his foundation and everything, just really enjoy spending time with him.
That's cool to hear.
Yeah, just love Paul. So I put Paul Macbeth, Nate Doss, and what's that 3rd spot?
Last but not least.
This is important. I feel like,
and that's all the time we have. We're gonna.
Jeez, I don't know. This third one is there has to be someone. Who is it? Who is it? There's totally somebody on that list. Yeah, my brain is dead.
I think that's safe. I think it's
two is good. Two is good.
Two's good.
I'd pull up with Macbeth and Doss all day. So
all day.
That's cool.
Yep.
Love it. Well, Cole, thanks so much for your time, man. Thanks for your honesty. Thanks for just sharing your heart a little bit and kind of how you got started and stuff. You know, you're like you said, one of the things you look at on players you're looking up to is their brand, but doing things that you're continuing to do and having the home crowd fall in love with you and everything, like you're on the path to doing that, and it's just so cool to see. So thank you for setting the tone and being so well spoken and like taking the time to do this kind of thing. It means a lot. So thanks for joining us here, man. And we're huge fans, and we would love to see you take down the Preserve and many, many more. And I'll be in Des Moines in a couple weeks. Get to hang out with you there. It'll be fun.
Awesome,
dude. Stoked to have you here. Thanks for taking the time.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me on the pod, and thanks for all you're doing for DGA and this podcast. And yeah, enjoy it out there, and keep a lookout. Hopefully, I can perform for you guys, not just Portland. We'll see.
Hey, thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Really good chatting with you, dude.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been fun, guys.
Thanks, man. Enjoy your cold chicken and rice.
Hey, we still got to throw it back in the oven with some cheese. So
hey,
good deal.
Cool. Heck yeah, dude.
All right,
have a
guys.
good night, brother. Thank you, dude.
Peace.
Later, Cole.
See you. Heck
What a
yeah.
guy. What a
dude,
guy.
What
That
a
was
guy,
awesome.
dude. What a guy. Cole Redalen. I mean, 19. Like, that's insane to me.
Never
like,
would have guessed it.
Never. I mean, the demeanor, the knowledge, the passion from that is it's so different. And I think he hit the nail on the head of it's who you surround yourself with. He's surrounding himself with a community of people that are in the same spot, that are working on building a brand, that take this seriously, that like have good morals and a good head on their shoulders and are
They uplift each
the
other.
right thing. Exactly. You're competing, but you're also on a team. And like that means so much, like in any space, whether it's in a corporate job or you're in a whatever, like having those people around you, you can tell that is what carries him through week to week. So yeah, thanks Cole for joining us, man. We're definitely rooting for you. And with that, let's jump into the Preserve preview. And man, I think it's gonna be hard not to say Cole, but Ricky, man, he loves the Preserve. Seeing there's something iconic in him lifting that trophy up. This course just works for him in the most perfect way. Long flex shots. It requires long circle 2 putts in a lot of these baskets. We had a kind of a one-off. Bradley Williams won in 2022. So right. I mean, you never know, but I think Ricky is wanting it. He's been close already so many times this season, but I think it's going to be Ricky at the end of the day. I really do.
I mean, like you said, he's getting almost like closer and closer every time he's approaching the top. And I feel like Ricky's the kind of guy where when he gets there and he like starts to smell it, he's like, I'm all in.
Yep.
I'm all in. I'm going to work even harder. I'm going to practice even more. I'm going to make sure that there's nothing wrong with my game when I get to this next event.
Yeah, his worst finish of the year was Texas State's at 17th, but since then he has not been outside the top 10 all year. Or no, sorry, at 12th it played against Sports at Jonesboro. But other than that, I mean, literally third, fifth, sixth, second, third, second.
That's
I mean,
really
he is
consistent.
On fire, like easily on fire.
I feel like he's also dodging some of the headlines though. Like people aren't really talking about what he's doing right now.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of quiet, and maybe we're gonna get some bucket hat Rick going on because he's been no hat for a bit. I feel like we haven't seen him in a hat in a minute, and maybe he's just gonna pull it out, and maybe that's what's gonna make it happen.
Bucket hat and dinosaur tees,
right? Make it happen. But on the FPO side, man, last year we had Katrina Allen win. She's not playing this event. She's definitely about to have a baby soon, or maybe she is playing. I'm not sure. Oh, she is playing. We have word from our producer. She is playing this event, which is crazy. Then you have Paige, who won in 2022, Kristen in 2021, and then Paige again. Paige has already won this year.
I was going to say she's on the up, man.
Dude, she's definitely on the up. Paige
had a week off.
Yeah. and 2 weeks off because she took Valley off and made a week in between. Right. So I mean, she's going to be fresh, and this course again, similar to Ricky, suits her game. And when she's got this power coming back, and if she can win OTB, I mean, Preserve is definitely going to be a little bit tighter, a little bit more deliberate landing zones. But I'm going to go ahead and say I think Paige can win this one. Kristen's still out, and I think Paige is definitely in the conversation. But we could see Holland go back to back. She's taking that energy, and this course suits her really well as well.
Yeah. I like it. I don't know who I would pick. I'm definitely Rick on the front.
Mm-hmm. I don't know though. Gannon 3 in a row though. Now that I think about it, man,
dude, a 3-peat.
Gannon go 3 in a row.
So sick.
I don't have the stats in front of me, but it's got to be a long time since someone won 3 in a row.
Just
it'd probably be a Ricky. It'd probably be a Paul. Like
Ricky or Paul was like my first thought.
Yeah, we'll have to find out what that list of 3 Elite Series in a row is probably either doesn't exist or is a very small list.
I don't know. It's an interesting field right now for the ladies because a lot of them are climbing at certain times and then maybe faltering at other times. But like, I mean, you could have like a Cat Merch just come out super hot.
Yep.
And clean it up.
Right. For sure.
Right. Like similar shot shaping to like how Rick throws, forehand, backhand, flex lines type stuff. Like could be her. Could be Valerie Mandahano. Mandahano likes to throw those types of lines. I'm like, it's just so open. And that's why people are saying that it's boring. I'm like, get out of here, you guys.
No
FPO
way.
is so much fun to watch. You never know who's going to win.
You don't. And I think it's as much as we miss having Kristen on tour, it does bring a different energy. And it's like, oh, are we really battling for second? Maybe someone can challenge her. And then it's just a 2-horse race. But right now, anyone can win. So I think I would like to see Paige take it down again to prove the haters again and go, hey, I didn't win 1, I actually won 2. Is freaking incredible. So I think that'd be awesome. So, well, when we return, we're going to be talking to Shasta Criss, having seen the wisdom of the ancients and hear from him and be able to break it down. And then we're going to wrap it up. Thanks y'all for hanging with us. We'll be right back here at Parks Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. We're jumping to a segment now called Wisdom from the Ancients, and there's no way better to finish the podcast with a little bit of wisdom to, finish your day, finish your night, maybe your drive. So let's hear from Shasta Criss. Oh my gosh, we've got a scroll.
Hey there, this is Shasta Criss with some wisdom from the ancients. So, do you have a bad tournament, bad round? Well, you know what? Stop thinking about it. Put that in the past. I got 3 courses I got to learn for this weekend, so I got work to do. Not every week's going to go your way. Not every round's going to go your way. So maybe focus on a little bit of what you were making mistakes on. Go hit some putts, get that confidence back, and look forward, not back.
This is such a good word.
Hey, okay.
That's a good word.
Let's be honest about it, though. Super important.
Super important.
I'm the kind of guy where for the rest of that day, like I don't really want to talk to people after I have a bad round. Like
you have a bad enough round, you're like, dude, beer doesn't even taste good. Like I don't even want to eat. I'm like, I don't even want to drink my favorite things. I'm like, I'm upset.
I played around the other day. It was like a 1-round flex start, like pretty easy course. And I was like 7 down through the first 8 holes. And I finished the tournament -4.
That's super a lot of holes left.
Super upset. And I was with my buddies too. It's a flex start. You pick your time, you pick your teams. And after the round, I was like, well, guys, that was fun. Like, we need beer. All right. I said, I need beer. Like, I'm gonna get in my car. And I immediately did. It was like, I need beer. I don't drink like this, but I was just like, yeah, I'm just putting 1 down immediately.
Yep.
And then you guys can talk to me after that. So it's a really valid point that he's making, that like you have to just go past it.
Yep. You can't look back. You got to go forward.
No, because you're just going to sit there and wallow, and like your physical body will act with that. And you're not going to be confident. You're not going to throw the right shots. You're going to flub the putts. Right.
Yep.
So it's a really valid point. And how did he do it? Masters Worlds.
I believe he was 30th-ish, right around there.
That's really not bad.
No, not bad at all. I mean, Joe Revere just freaking went off.
Wiped the floor, dude.
Yeah, like literally just went off. I think he won by 14 over a Finn, over Mika Lyko. So that's awesome.
That is really cool.
Eric McCabe in the top 4. But yeah, and I mean, second place, they actually tied second place, Jeff Face.
Wow.
So, I mean, pretty awesome to see. But yeah, I mean, pretty crazy to feel that way. And it's a real thing. But I think the biggest thing with golf is any golf, disc golf, ball golf, whatever, foot golf, if you got that in your city, soccer golf, if you will, is you got to have the memory of a goldfish, the Ted Lasso saying, because you know what? You immediately forget your mistakes. And I find myself so many times walking up to him and I want to practice putt. I want to develop and get rid of this because it goes every time I walk up to a putt, the last thing you want to be thinking about is, oh, I've missed this putt 4 times today. Like, no, but that happens so easily. So something I've been working on is putting practice and different distances. And then when I get in that moment, I'm about the same distance and I close my eyes. I literally like picture myself hearing my dog barking, the breeze, whatever. I was talking with our buddy Hayden. I was like, dude, he was like, my putting has just been terrible. And I'm like, take yourself to your basement. He just had a baby a couple months ago or a month and a half ago. And I'm like, put yourself in your basement, close your eyes, hear your baby laughing with your wife upstairs, open your eyes and make that putt. Like take yourself to that place to where you have joy and you're comfortable. And if you can do that on every hole, disc golf is 18 holes. That's 18 chances to just reset. Dude, I definitely reset like once. So I need to do it.
Chubbs knew what he was talking about, man. Yeah. Go to your happy place and just tap it in.
Just tap it in.
Just tap it.
Just tap-a-roo. Tap-a-roo. Didn't Chubbs also say our favorite thing to say here at the end of an episode? I think it was Chubbs. It's peace, love, and disc golf, baby. Thanks for listening to Park Podcast. It may not have been Chubbs, but if you listen this long, let us know in the comments below, and you can correct us on that. We appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging. Peace, love, and disc golf. Zach, enjoy your trip, and we'll be back very soon. Thank y'all for hanging. Peace.
Later, everybody.